My daughter Rachel was the first person to be shot and killed at Columbine High School back in 1999. My son Craig came within a split second of losing his life as two of his friends were shot and killed beside him. 13 innocent people lost their lives that day, 12 students and 1 teacher. Each one of them was a precious life, and each one has their own story. We can't share them all with you today, but we can share a little bit of Rachel's story and the chain reaction for good that has rippled around the world since her death. It may seem like a long time ago, but the way Rachel lived her life for others and the huge impact her deliberate acts of kindness had on those around her still resonates. It's every bit as relevant today as it was on that first warm day in spring back in 1999. It challenges us to look at how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. It encourages us to connect. It gives us hope. And it reminds us that what we do and say really does matter, even long after we're gone. We can only share a tiny portion of Rachel's story and what's happening with Rachel's challenge over the next few minutes. So I'll ask you ahead of time to please consider attending one of our events so that you can hear the whole story and learn about the exciting things we're doing with Rachel's challenge in your area. Thank you for your time today, and I really do look forward to meeting you personally in the near future.
"71% of students report bullying as being a problem in their school. Students can't learn if they're in a fight or flight mode. They need to feel safe and connected."
Teenage bullying and teasing is an epidemic in this country, and the death rate is climbing.
There have been high-profile cases in every corner of the country.
You know, I see these kids in schools every day. So many of them are from broken homes. So many of them are from homes where they go home and see drug abuse. They see alcoholism.
And for them, their lives are filled with hate and anger and fear.
I really wanted to kill myself because I was so miserable.
I was like, "What is it?" And he said, "Well, I can't really describe it to you." But he said what they're doing is they're doing presentations in schools all over the country. The story that they're telling is making a tremendous impact.
Rachel's challenge is working hard to promote safer, more connected schools where teaching and learning can thrive.
Our administrative team came back and just said, "We've got to have this program."
I sit in the auditorium and I watch the impact that Rachel's story has on these students.
2,000 students sit in the gymnasium, quiet, respectful.
No matter the audience, the reaction is always the same.
Some of the toughest guys I know were impacted by Rachel's challenge in a very positive way.
Oh, you could feel it that, like, man, this was, pretty much hitting everybody on the heart.
Everything around me changed. It changed the way I live my everyday life, the way I look at little things.
Those students used to have issues with each other. Now they're high-fiving each other. Things are changing.
You see kids who put walls up, and that comes down, and you get to see the real person. And I think that was really important for all the kids to see.
And they start looking around and they start seeing other kids, really seeing them for the first time and understanding that they're just like me. I'm not alone in this world. And I meet kids that on the day we showed up, they were thinking about pulling the plug. They were done. They were hopeless.
I had everything planned out, and I actually had a rope and pills in my bedroom waiting for me when I got home.
It didn't matter what the reason was, but they were hopeless. They needed something. And Rachel was that something.
We get hundreds of letters every year from students, and I remember reading one that just brought me to tears of a 10-year-old girl who had an exact plan to end her life. But at the end of the letter, she said, "Rachel, you saved my life."
so many adults I meet, they'll say our kids today, they're lost. You know, they don't have respect. They need to have more rules. And they keep telling kids what they can't do. I see kids that are dying to have someone say, here's what you can do. Here's how you can make a difference in the world. Here's your value.
The issue isn't just about ending bullying. It's much deeper than that. It's about connecting with students and having them connect with each other. They need to feel accepted, wanted, loved, and appreciated. We all do.
Our kids today are dying to know they're not alone. They're dying to know that they matter and that they're cared about.
It's about having compassion that they have a story and having other students realize that when they see this person as a bully, that that's just one layer to them, that this isn't something that defines them at all.
Since Rachel's challenge arrived, you can feel, you can see, you can taste the difference.
We found that there's been a decrease in the number of bullying taking place in the school as a result of Rachel's challenge.
And Rachel's story was that huge thing for them that made the difference, that helped them turn the tide. And they went from hopeless to hopeful, that not only their life would mean something, but that they could make a difference in someone else's life. That's the magic of Rachel's story.
Right before a presentation, the principal had warned me. She was very concerned because the 8th grade group that was coming in, she said, was a really hard group, and she was very nervous about how well they were going to listen and engage with the message. From the moment we started, they were engaged. They were listening to everything we had to say, every video, and at the end, I noticed 2 girls sitting crying with the assistant principal. The principal came up to me, was blown away by how well the students engaged with the message, and I asked her about the 2 girls, and she said those girls were the meanest girls in the entire school. They had done a lot of damage as bullies. And right after that, both those girls came up to me with tears in their eyes, and they gave me a hug and they said, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." Later that evening for our community event, one of those girls brought back her mom, and that's when I knew it was a true transformation for her.
One of my most memorable moments from the road was I was at this school and I checked into the office. The host took forever to come and get me, and I later found out it was because he was trying to break up a fight between 2 girls. And after the assembly, when we had the forward training, one of these girls got up and she started describing and detailing her life and why she was so hard and aggressive with people. And she openly apologized to the other girl in front of everybody that she was going to blows with that morning. And after everyone had their share moment, the 2 girls who were fighting earlier that day sat in the same brainstorming session. A teacher got up, walked over to me, tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Now that is a miracle."
During the Friends of Rachel's Club training, we were hanging out with some students, and one young student came up who had the command. I mean, all of the other students respected him. I didn't know why, but he said, you know, you guys look at me and think, oh, I'm tough because I'm in a gang. He said, when I was 5 years old, I saw my mother assassinated, shot, and killed right in front of me. And that's the reason why I joined the gang at a super early age. And I want to let you know, I'm in a gang now, but after listening to Rachel's story, I'm trying my best. I'm going to get out of that gang. I will no longer be gang affiliated after this day.
I did an assembly, and after the assembly, a student came up to me and said that 2 years prior, he was planning to take his own life. And there was a bully at his school that was treating him so harshly. And that very day that he planned to take his life, the bully came up to him, apologized, said, "I'm so sorry for how I've treated you." And he had the boldness to say, "Hey, why are you apologizing today?" And he said, "I just saw Rachel's challenge and I realized I was treating you so badly." Then this boy, 2 years later, still doing so well, got to see the Rachel's Challenge assembly, and he realized that he wanted to take the message and go forward and be kinder and a better person. It saved his life, and it made his mission to be better and change people's lives.
Hi, my name is Bob Marzano. I would like to encourage you to seriously consider Rachel's Challenge, bringing it to your school or your district. It is literally the single most powerful intervention I have ever seen in K-12 education throughout my over 4 decades of working with schools across the country. You will find that it can inspire or will inspire students in a way that you might not have ever experienced before, at least within the confines of your building. You will also find that it will reach students that might have been considered unreachable up to that point in time. So please look into Rachel's Challenge. You just absolutely cannot go wrong with this.
Some of the students we hear back from are ones who were planning to commit suicide. And over the last 3 years, we received around 500 of those emails from students who were planning to take their lives. And every single page in that book represents a life that may not be with us except for Rachel's Challenge coming to their school.
Holding this stack of papers is unbelievable. We believe that everyone's important and everyone has a story.
It was 3 years ago that 19-year-old Hope lost her hope.
I had everything planned out, and I actually had a rope and pills in my bedroom waiting for me when I got home.
We show with Rachel's Challenge that a 17-year-old girl, the value that her life has had, kind of opens their eyes to say, I can make an impact in this world, and I matter. A teenager might have thoughts of suicide because they feel so unimportant, that they don't matter, that they don't have value. They can't see the full value and scope of their life at 16 or 17. And we want them to know that they are important, that their life has so much value. And it keeps me going when I've literally had students come up to me after a presentation telling me that they were going to take their life.
Before this, I was suicidal. I was thinking about it my whole life.
You give me so much inspiration. You're probably one of the reasons I'm alive right now.
And simply by them not giving up, they actually end up helping someone down the road that's on the verge of giving up. Because they can say to that person, hey, I've been there, I've been in your shoes, but it does get better. And they can share with them their story that can help that person.
I really do have to agree with the chain reaction thing, because without Rachel's Challenge, this little one wouldn't be here, and he is my heart and soul, my entire world. I would do anything for him.
The young man you're about to see, his name is Adam, and Adam was born with disabilities and things that he couldn't help. It caused him to be slower than other students, to look different, to act different, to talk different. And because of his disabilities, Adam got made fun of at times. He got shoved around, And the first time he met my daughter was in a hallway at school, and it was about 2 or 3 months after Rachel died that I met him for the first time. And he told us the story of how they met. He said, I was walking down the hall, and 2 boys bigger than me knocked my books out of my hands, and they pushed me up against some lockers, and they started calling me names. And Rachel was down the hall, and she saw what was happening, and my daughter was furious. And she should have gotten a teacher, principal, or someone to stop what was happening, but she didn't. We don't encourage you to do what Rachel did that day. It's not part of her chain reaction we want you to copy. But she ran down the hall, got between those 2 guys and Adam, doubled up her fists, and she said, if you touch him again, you're going to have to fight me. Now, I'm sure they were scared out of their minds, looking down at this little girl threatening them. But they backed off. She and Adam became friends. And here's the deal. Rachel only had 2 months left to live. She didn't know that. Adam didn't know that. She went to all of her friends during that 2 months. And we know this because we talked to them. And she asked them if they would just show Adam a little bit of kindness. She said, Adam's kind of alone. He doesn't have any friends. Just say hi to him in the hallway. Just give him a wave, a pat on the back, an encouraging word. You don't have to marry him. You don't have to be his best friend. Just show that you care. And her friends began to do that. And here's the part of the story that's so important. Adam had tears running down his face as he told us the story. And he said to me, Mr. Scott, I never had a chance to tell Rachel what I wanted to tell her, that she saved my life from suicide. He said she died before I ever told her that I was planning to take my life. When she stood up for me and got her friends to be my friends, I changed my mind about taking my life. So I want you to be aware of the fact that there are people in your school, and you don't know what's happening sometimes. You don't know what the person sitting next to you is going through at home or going through in other classes, and the struggle that they may have because of a disability, whatever the cause is. Sometimes we just don't know what people are going through. I want to encourage you to understand the importance of a simple smile, a simple pat on the back, an encouraging word. Those things make a huge difference.
Since the Columbine High School tragedy, Rachel's life-changing story has been heard by over 24 million people in live settings. On average, Rachel's Challenge is in more than 1,000 schools across North America every year, with as many as 2.5 million students and educators involved in our K-12 programs. We consistently maintain a 97% recommendation rate from our schools, and our presenters average a score of 96% in both program impact and student relatability. The effect the program has on individuals, schools, and communities is truly amazing. In an elementary school in Georgia, disciplinary referrals were down by 53%, as well as a 13% increase in school climate satisfaction. A middle school in Washington reports referrals down by 47%. And a high school in Colorado had referrals drop by 64.5%, along with a 4.2% increase in AP test scores. Now, data is important, but how do you place a value on those students, parents, and educators whose lives are changed or even saved because of Rachel's Challenge programs? Well, school and news outlets have reported on at least 7 school shootings averted because of Rachel's Challenge. And every year we hear from over 150 students who were going to take their own lives but changed their mind. Thousands of stories like these from students, parents, and educators are proof of the program's impact.
Our presentation was on Monday of this week, and today I did my 4th intervention with a suicidal student. I am so grateful that the program gave them the strength to come to me and ask for help, and all of them are currently receiving psychiatric care with full family support.
On October 10th, our high school had the opportunity to have a presenter from Rachel's Challenge speak to the entire student body. Rachel's story touched so many hearts, specifically a couple of students who were asked to help in a shooting that was supposed to happen in the days that followed. After hearing Rachel's message, the boys reported the threat and the shooter was apprehended. So we want to thank all of you who brought us this amazing program. You might have saved many of our lives.